This is another 9.5 weeks, also known as Love in Paris, and if you haven't seen it, lucky you. If you've not seen the first one, there's a link to my rundown in the description.
You should subscribe.
So this is set 11 years and many botched surgeries later, and John is still devastated at the loss of Elizabeth, so much so that he's asking hookers to use her name.
Oh dear.
Elizabeth is now really successful in the art world and lives in Paris, so John heads over there to try to find her. He's even gone to an auction and is buying all her paintings.
Congratulations, sir. You have them all.
He's not found Elizabeth, but he has seen this woman wearing the scarf he gave her. This is Leia, and apparently she's a friend of Elizabeth who's heard all about John. Back to the scarf briefly. It's a totally different scarf.
It is.
Could they not have at least made some attempt to find one that was at least the same colour? Apparently not.
Pictured you very different, John Gray.
Yeah, that's probably because he looked like a totally different person. I'm not sure which has changed more, Mickey Rourke or the scarf. Anyway, Leia is a fashion designer and he's come to see her at work, where he meets her assistant Claire and her partner Vittorio.
I love that coat. The Gap? I'm joking, of course.
Vittorio is seriously irritating and he has an irrational hatred of John. They agree to meet for breakfast tomorrow. At breakfast, Leia tells John that Elizabeth is married now and has moved to Tangiers. She also tells him that she knows all about the twisted games he and Elizabeth used to play.
Oh, I see.
There's definitely something weird going on here. We don't know what, but John thinks Leia isn't being totally honest about Elizabeth. When he gets home, he gets a note under the door from Leia saying to meet tomorrow at this place with handcuffs on the wall. So she starts kissing him before screaming for help as if he's assaulting her.
You're American. You should know better.
What? Oh yeah, because in Paris this sort of behaviour is just mildly frowned upon. Unbelievable. He doesn't seem to have a problem with that little game, and seconds later they're talking as if nothing's happened. It turns out that when Elizabeth went to Moscow, she left a journal behind titled 9.5 Weeks, which was the story of their affair. And Leia read this. That's how she knows the details of their relationship.
Now things are beginning to make sense.
John and Leia then go to a club where Leia is dancing with randoms to wind him up.
What a slut.
But John has seen this guy trying to force himself onto her assistant Claire.
Ooh, that can't be good.
It's her on and off boyfriend Charlie, so John follows them into the bathroom and slaps him around before escaping the club with Leia. Next, they go to this weird Middle Eastern place. She drugs his drink and starts playing some dice game. These guys try to steal their money, but they get stopped immediately at the door and give the money back, so that was totally pointless. They leave there, they go under a railway arch, and then they bang. In the morning, they wake up in his apartment and she's putting his clothes on and dancing. If you haven't worked this out already, yes, this film is crap. I'm sure people didn't watch this for the plot, but I'm pretty confident they'd have been disappointed with the other stuff too.
True.
Later that day, John is walking around with Claire. They go to this place for lunch, annoy this guy who's dressed as Dracula, and then show up at Leia and Vittorio's fashion show. I can only assume that quite a lot of money was spent on creating this set, and they really wanted to get their money's worth, because this adds absolutely nothing to the story. This, however, doesn't stop it from going on and on and on. And look, it's been a huge success and everyone's cheering. Yeah. Now they're off to some after party and Leia is bringing John. At the party, everyone is acting as if John is really good looking. All the guests are really weird fashion people, and there's some sex-themed display that I'm unable to show.
I don't know if it's the kind of thing you should be looking at.
Leia takes John to another room and gives him a blindfold, and then they... Oh, no they don't. Leia has brought another woman in, just like John did to Elizabeth in the first film. Ooh. It seems that Leia is trying to prove to John that she's just as sexually liberated as he is. She's read Elizabeth's diary and thinks she can match him.
I don't think so.
Okay, now Vittorio has walked in on this threesome and told John that Elizabeth died last year.
Isn't that terrible?
John is devastated, so walks around depressed until the early hours of the morning. The film could always imply this, as opposed to making it feel like they filmed this in real time. Another 10 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. Thanks. When John gets back to his apartment, he bollocks Leia for lying to him. So now she's telling him the whole truth. Elizabeth got herself involved in drugs and Leia blames her dealer for her death. So they go to this ghetto where I assumed Elizabeth died. Apologies for the uncertainty, but I can't really hear what's going on because the audio is so bad and the actors mumble. Anyway, this place is vile and some kids start attacking Leia, but it's okay because John's got a gun. John tells Leia he's really upset about Elizabeth, so doesn't want to be alone. It looks like these two are going to have some sort of normal relationship now. Perhaps John has learned his lesson. I know I've said this already, but I really can't stress enough. Please don't watch this. It's so bad. Anyway, Leia tries to start playing these games she read about in Elizabeth's diary. And John's like, no, you just don't get it, do you? Get what? Don't know. Anyway, then there's this scene at Claire's apartment. Vittorio is there complaining about John again, and Claire says she's leaving Paris and going back to her old life. Then Charlie turns up, assumes Vittorio and Claire have been at it, and starts to knock her about.
What a cunt.
Claire goes to John's apartment and tells him what happened. At this point, I'm thinking, oh good, John's going to go and kick Charlie's head in. But no, he doesn't. And this is the last we hear about that. Now we see Leia getting an envelope from John with a hotel room key in it saying to meet at 9 p.m. It's a seedy motel, the sort that John loves. He's waiting there and he's brought this weird guy along.
That's you. He's a friend. He's going to do exactly what I tell him to do.
Is this some kind of sick joke?
It all gets a bit grim and she starts objecting to it, but John's not having any of her complaints at first. After a while, he pays the weird guy and he leaves, and then they bang. Next morning, John tries to leave without saying anything. She hears him and asks if he's coming back, and he says no because he doesn't want to hurt anybody anymore. Turns out he really liked her, but I assume he didn't want to drag her down the same path as he dragged Elizabeth down.
It's kind of sad.
Now I've sat through 105 minutes of that. I hope I've saved at least one person from making the same mistake. Absolutely awful. So until next time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and check out this other video. Thank you.